Let's get into some specifics. The introductions featured an all-valve Left 4 Dead campaigns, give a strong feeling of atmosphere, and place the survivors in the right situation. Many people have difficulty making proper intros. However, in this chapter, I'll show you how you can easily pull it off. So go to Open, and in your Noesis folder, select Left 4 Dead Noesis 1. There are three different aspects to this introduction that we'll focus on. The first of which is the intro camera. This will start at the radio and pan around the start area, giving us a great sense of scale. Secondly, we'll focus on the sounds. This includes the radio song and the responses the survivors give when the camera gets closer to their position. Finally, we'll focus on the correct entity order to get our custom intro started. This includes telling the director to start the intro and finally to release the survivors from their positions. While all the entities are already placed for reference reasons, I'll show you how to select them via the Entity tool and the important information you'll need to input. Intro cameras can be difficult to use in Left 4 Dead. This is because Valve software utilizes an animated model to parent the camera to instead of a track train. Let's take a simple and unique system to set our maps apart. And as you can see, it's just a brush textured with the tools No Draw. And it's a function track train. Again, it's just a square brush. And it was tied to an entity and it's called function track train. The name of it is camera function train. And let's see some of the first target is PT1. That's the first path track. Its max speed is 100 units per second. Change velocity is linear blend. The change angles is never. Distance between wheels is 50. Height above the track is 0. And the flags, no pitch, it's unblockable by player, passable, and it's fixed orientation. Now the rotating element. I've added a rotating element to the train. This gives the viewer the pan effects when the camera leaves the entrance to the facility. This was created the same way by drawing a brush. However, for our situation, I used the invisible texture. I also tied it to a function rotating. Its name is camera function rotating, parent is camera function train, max rotation speed is 13, and that's degrees per second. The friction is 20%. And the flags, accelerate, decelerate, it's not on, it's not solid, and the large sound radius is not important because it doesn't make a sound. Now let's do the stop targets. The function track train utilizes path tracks to know where it's going to go. It is created with the Entity tool. So let me pull it up so you can see where it is. See, it's path track. The name of it is PT1, so it's the first stop target. Next stop target is PT2. The new train speed is 20, and the orientation type is no change. And none of the flags are checked. And on pass, camera function train stop. This is so the camera stops there, and it knows where to start. Next, let's review the point view control multiplayer entity. This entity is used to take the view of all the players and to place it in the camera instead. Point view control multiplayer takes the views of all survivors automatically and is activated and deactivated. And again, you can find it here, point view control multiplayer. The name of which is camera PVM. The parent is camera function rotating, so it goes along with the rotation motion. let's just close that. Now let's focus on the sounds. Adding in custom music and sounds is very easy in Source. We'll use ambient generic entities because they are easier to use than the NV soundscapes in our tutorial. And to find the sound, just type in filter and Noesis, it's the intro sound. If you check the autoplay sounds box near the bottom of the window, you'll be able to hear each sound file by simply selecting it. The name of which is radio AG. The source entity name is radio, even though it's not important. And all the flags are checked, so it plays everywhere, it starts silent, and it's not looped. Now that we have our intro song, let's make the survivors converse. And we'll be using the talking files located in Left 4 Dead to make a unique talk and response system for our campaign. Choreographed scene is the entity that makes the survivors speak. This includes the movement of their mouths, expressions, and the sound of their voice. Instead of using a single VCD file to start the map, let's use a bunch of separate files instead. And again, you can find it when you do your entity tool, and it's logic, choreograph, scene. The name of the first one is intro LCS1. The scene file, you can view it exactly the same as an ambient generic, and let's just type it into the filter. Just make sure they are VCD files. Here's a couple of them. As you can see, they're just a couple of responses. Probably can't hear these sound files in the video, but you should be able to hear them from within Hammer. Scene files are similar to ambient generics in that they use the sound resource browser. Simply use the filter to find the sound. The logic choreographed scene automatically makes the designated actor speak when triggered. That means all you need to do is select the correct sound and your work is done. Now let's review some of the other ones. Intro LCS2. LCS3. As you can see, these are played in the order of the intro. And LCS4 is Zoe saying that they are ready. To trigger these in order, we'll need to set up a logic relay. And again, you just go to the entity tool, and it's located under logic relay. Right here. On trigger, intro LCS1, and it's started after a delay of 0 seconds. And 2 is after 4 seconds, 3 is after 5.5 seconds, and 4 is after 9 seconds. This way, there's no overlapping. Finally, let's put together the rest of these entities in their correct order. This includes having the map fade in and having the intro started. So let's check out these fade entities really fast. Start fade. Those are the things for it. And when the camera is finally regained, it fades out and it fades back in. As you can see, the first one doesn't have anything, but the second one is fade from. It's called fade outro 2. And then the outputs on begin fade, fade outro 2 fade, after a delay of 0.3 seconds. So after it's triggered, it'll automatically start the second fade. That way it goes to black and then comes back. And then the logic relay, the intro logic relay. On trigger, director, force survivor positions. This will teleport the survivors into their starting positions. Camera PVM. Enable. This enables the camera. Radio ambient generic to play sound. This starts the intro song. And then camera function train, start forward. This starts the camera moving at 7 seconds. Okay. And again, we have the director, on gameplay start, intro logic relay, trigger. This means at the start of the game, it starts that trigger. It also starts the fade. The director tells itself that it started the intro. And the logic relay. Let me explain this. At the end of the map, the general is yelling out to the survivors to pick up the radio. And this is done right here. And as you can see, here's the radio, which is just a prop stack, the various ambient generics, and the logic relays. Okay, let's go back to the beginning. Okay, let's zoom back to the survivors again. Okay, let's check out the survivor positions. As you can see, there are 4 of them, 1 for each survivor, and they are in info survivor position. And the survivor names are already put in. So you can see this one's going to be Lewis. This one will be Bill. This survivor will be Zoe. And finally, the last one will be Francis. Next, let's review how to end this intro. So let's go to the final path corner, right here. As you can see, it's a path track again. It's the 4th path corner. On outputs, on pass, fade outro 1, so it fades the map. Camera function train is set to stop, so it stops the camera. Camera point view control multiplayer is disabled, so it disables it, and it's set at 0.3 seconds. The director is told to release survivor positions, and it's at 1 second. And finally, the director is also told to finish the intro at 1 second. Let's go to the second stop. So you can see this path corner. It's the second path corner. It's set to the next, go to the 3rd path corner. The new train speed is 100, so it speeds up. And on pass, camera function rotating is start forward, so it starts rotating the camera. The 3rd path track, next stop target is PT4, new train speed is 150, and on pass, the intro scene logic relay, so it starts the conversing, and it's at 4 seconds. Okay, so let's do a little bit of review. So let's go over to the director. To begin, the director will trigger its outputs at the start of the game. This includes beginning the intro, fading in the map from black, telling itself that it's playing the introduction, and finally making the radio in the safe room work. So let's zoom around a little bit, and we'll go back to the info director. So at first, the info director starts itself, and it's on gameplay start, so as soon as the game starts. Next, the entity called intro logic relay tells the director to teleport the survivors to their starting positions via the command for survivor positions. The intro camera is enabled, the song is started, and the camera train is told to start moving after about 7 seconds. Yes, 7 seconds. And then let's zoom over to the second path corner. So after the train hits the second path corner, it'll start the rotation of the camera and give us that nice panning effect. Once it hits the third, the intro scene starts, so the players will start conversing. Finally, when the camera train gets to the fourth path corner, let me select it. It fades for the outro, it stops the camera, it releases the survivor positions, and the game can finally start by finishing the intro. Let's see the culmination of all this.
The emergency band was talking about a military outpost just north of here.
Yeah, I heard that too. Shit, never thought I'd go looking for the military.